everyone, it's Molly. I'm here in my favorite park ever, Epcot, for International Flower and Garden Fest. So come along with me. We're going to ride some rides, we're going to see some topiaries, and most importantly, we're going to try some delicious food. Let's go. So first thing we want to do when you come to a festival is pick up your festival passport. This is going to let you know where everything is located, including the outdoor kitchens and the menu items they have, as well as at the back of the passport, you will find all of the Garden Craze menu items, which if you purchase 5 of any of these items, or it can be 5 of the same item, they'll give you a stamp and you can turn it in to receive a free treat. So this also will let you know where all the different gardens are, as well as all the different topiaries. I took the Skyliner to get to Epcot today, so I'm entering through the International Gateway, and we have our first topiary of the day, Mickey and Minnie. We've got a lot of festival food to try today at the outdoor kitchens, but Epcot just opened. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Most of the outdoor kitchens won't open up until 11 o'clock, and we're hungry now. So we're gonna go ahead and cross that bridge right over into France and go grab breakfast at one of my favorite places in Epcot, Les Halles. After breakfast, I noticed that Remy's Ratatouille Adventure had a posted 10-minute standby wait time. That never happens for this ride, so since we were just right next door, we decided to go ahead and knock this one out. We ended up waiting closer to about 15 minutes, but that still wasn't bad, and by the time we got off the ride, the standby wait time had gone up to 50 minutes. I love this ride. I think it is super cute, and it is definitely a must-do for me every time I'm in Epcot. Next up, we're in the UK Pavilion to explore the English Tea Garden. I think that this pavilion is one of the prettiest pavilions in all of World Showcase for Flower and Garden Fest every year. The UK Pavilion also features the Shakespeare Garden with flowers that inspired some of his most famous works. While we were waiting for the outdoor kitchens to open up to try out some festival eats and drinks, we're going to go ahead and make our way towards the front of the park to keep exploring gardens, seeing topiaries, and let's go on some rides. How cute is Pooh Bear? He usually is catching butterflies with his butterfly net because he's located right next to the butterfly garden that you can walk through. We made it to the Land Pavilion. We have a lot of walking to do today. World Showcase alone is 1.2 miles long, so we're going to go on two of my favorite rides to rest your feet. First up is Living with the Land. This is a 20-minute boat ride that teaches you about plants. It sounds like it would be really boring, and as a little kid, I'm not going to lie, I definitely thought it was, but I find this ride incredibly relaxing now, and I go on it every time I'm in Epcot. This one was a walk-on, which it usually is, so we decided to go ahead and ride this while we waited for our lightning lane for Soarin' to be ready to use. Once we got off Living with the Land, our lightning lane for Soarin' was ready to use. This is the same ride that's in California Adventure, but for whatever reason, even with a lightning lane, I feel like it always takes longer to get on this one in Epcot than in the one in California Adventure. We ended up waiting for about 20 minutes. Next up is The Seas with Nemo and Friends, which was another walk-on. This ride is fine, but I definitely wouldn't wait more than 10 minutes to go on it.
Don't worry. Just keep your eyes open for him along the way.
Nemo! Come out for
Let's go explore. Let's go explore the big blue world.
Mr. Ray, we can't explore without Nemo.
I'm sure we'll see him any minute.
Stop playing games!
Games? I love games. Ooh, I'm thinking of something pink and bouncy that looks like a balloon.
Jellyfish!
Right. Okay, now I'm thinking of something.
Awesome!
I want to try.
Whoa! Check out the mini marlin! Whoa!
Nemo, give me some fins. Nugget, dude.
The best part of this ride is that you exit into the sea base, and the manatees are my favorite part, and actually one of my favorite parts of Epcot in general. They are adorable. Our boarding group for Guardians got called, so as we were making our way over there, we actually ended up spotting Donald and Daisy out in front of Connections. Guardians is my new favorite Disney ride. Disneyland Space Mountain has been my favorite ride for as long as I can remember, but Guardians has officially stolen that title now. This ride is so fun, and it is unlike anything I've ever been on. There are 6 different songs that you can get while riding, and for whatever reason, I always end up getting Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I did get Conga one time, but otherwise I always get Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which I'm okay with. It's time to start making our way around to the outdoor kitchens for some festival eats. And our first stop of the day is Farmer's Feast. This booth actually has 3 menus over the course of Flower and Garden Fest that change as the festival progresses into summer. From Farmer's Feast, we are trying the grilled vegetable bruschetta as well as a Ghost Mary. So the Ghost Mary is supposed to have tomato water instead of actual Bloody Mary mix. So hopefully it's really refreshing. And the bruschetta is really pretty with the little edible flowers that are on top of it. So the bruschetta is really refreshing, but the vegetables are cold on top, which I guess is great because it is so hot outside right now. But I definitely wasn't expecting that with them being grilled. Overall, I'd say it's pretty good. I'd give it maybe a 7 out of a 10. I don't regret buying it, but I definitely probably wouldn't get it again. The Bloody Mary, same thing. It's not bad. I'd say it's more of an 8 out of 10. And again, it's mostly just because it's pretty refreshing. So nothing special, but nothing bad either. We are back in World Showcase, and first stop up is Mexico. I mentioned before, we have a lot of walking to do today, so I never turned down an opportunity to sit down in some air conditioning. Grand Fiesta Tour was a walk-on, so we decided to ride it before trying out Mexico's festival booth. Again, this is a ride that I definitely would not wait to go on, but when it is a walk-on, it's a nice little break and some air conditioning, and it's pretty cute. Mexico is usually one of my favorite festival booths, no matter the festival, so I'm super excited for this booth this year. All right, from Mexico, we got the Taco Vampiro, which I'm super excited about because I had this last year and it was my favorite thing out of all of the festivals. So I'm super excited to see if it still tastes the same. Hopefully it does. And then we also got the quesadilla. So the Taco Vampiro was still 10 out of 10. That is still my favorite thing I've ever had at any festival here, let alone just this festival. Highly, highly recommend. Also, the quesadilla was really good. I'd give that a 9 out of 10. And only because I'm being picky because that taco was so good. To get a 10 out of a 10, it's going to have to be something really, really amazing. So on to Norway, let's go. We decided to ride Frozen while we were here. I don't always ride this one, mostly because it's hard to line up the lightning lane for when I'm usually coming through this part of World Showcase. And I don't like this ride enough to wait in the ridiculously long line that it always has for standby. However, today it lined up perfectly with our schedule for the day and just worked. This ride is super cute and I adore Sven. One of my dogs is actually named after Sven, so I'm kind of a big Frozen fan. However, I don't love how wet you can get on this ride. I've gone on this and just gotten my butt wet, and then I've also gone on this and gotten completely drenched like today, which is why my hair is up in a clip for the rest of this video. Continuing on through World Showcase, we spotted these adorable pandas in the China Pavilion before heading on to Germany. These Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs topiaries were my favorite out of all the topiaries last year. And I have a feeling they're probably going to be this year's favorite too. They have so much detail in them, especially the cute little caterpillar that's sitting on top of Sneezy's nose. It's been a little bit since we last ate in Mexico, so let's head to another festival booth. So we decided on the pretzel bread with ham and cheese, as well as a 12-ounce raspberry radler because that is one of my favorite beers. So I usually end up getting that at almost every single one of the festivals. So the pretzel bread I've had in years before. I think it was a little bit different. I'd say 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's just you can tell it's been sitting for a long time. If it was fresh and warm and soft and not stale, even the cheese, might have rated a little bit higher. But yeah, 7 out of 10. And then the raspberry radler, you can never go wrong with the raspberry radler. 10 out of 10, just like the Taco Vampiro. Next up is Italy to see Lady and the Tramp, and Lady's ears will actually continue to get bigger and bigger as they grow throughout this festival. Next up is Magnolia Terrace in American Adventure. I love crawfish and I absolutely love Bananas Foster, so I am so excited to try this booth this year. Plus, the American booth usually is one of my favorites during the festivals. So no surprise, we got the crawfish pie and the Bananas Foster bread pudding. I will admit I'm a little less excited to try both of these than I was before seeing them in person, but let's give them a shot. So America was a big bust, unfortunately. The crawfish pie, I would give it a 2 out of 10. There was a biscuit piece on top that was so hard you couldn't cut through it, and finally a little piece did break off, and honestly I wish it wouldn't have broken off. The Bananas Foster's bread pudding, again, I was super excited for this item this year, and I would give that a 1 out of 10. I don't think I've ever given a festival food 1 out of 10, and that was pretty bad. So yeah, big bust for America, unfortunately, for Flower and Garden Fest this year, which is a shame because usually this is one of my favorite for festivals. So onward to Japan. So I actually had planned to try the Hanami sushi as well as the plum sake in Japan at their festival booth. But unfortunately, that food in American Adventure was so bad that it turned all of our stomachs, and we need a little break before we can eat or drink anything else. So let's go look at some more topiaries. We are back in France. Again, I had planned on eating at this festival booth too, but instead I opted for my favorite drink, which is a lemon Grey Goose slush from the little drink booth right by the water. We took a little break, we're feeling better, everybody feels refreshed, and now we are ready to keep eating, and the next stop is Florida Fresh. So we decided to try the Florida strawberry shortcake from this booth. Strawberry shortcake was also meh. I would give it 7 out of 10. It was just average. This was another one that I was super excited about. I love strawberries and I love strawberry shortcake. I'd heard from a lot of other people that this made their best of the fest list. And again, I don't know if it's just because we got one that wasn't fresh and it was quite stale, but definitely could have used more strawberries and more whipped cream. It just didn't have a lot of flavor and was, again, just kind of meh. Wasn't the worst thing I've had at the festival this year, and it definitely wasn't the best either. Next up is the Honey Bistro. This was one of my favorite festival booths last year for Flower and Garden Fest. So again, I'm excited to try this one. The flatbread pizza that they had last year was a favorite for our group, and this year it is a pollinator flatbread. So we'll see how it compares. We got the pollinator flatbread, which looks kind of interesting. Hopefully this is good. I'm definitely interested in those blueberries on pizza. And we also got some honey wine to try. So the flatbread pizza, I'd give it 8 out of 10. Surprisingly, I actually really liked it and really liked those blueberries on there. It sounded like a really odd combination, but surprisingly it just worked. Again, it definitely had been sitting there for a while, so I think that if it would have been fresh, it probably would have been closer to a 9 out of 10 or possibly even a 10 out of a 10. As far as the honey wine, I would give that a 4 out of 10. It's not terrible, but it kind of tastes like I'm drinking cough syrup and not wine. There's a little bit of honey, but it, again, mostly like honey cough syrup, not quite what I thought it was going to be. We are at our last stop of the day, which is Canada. This is another festival booth that usually is in my top festival eats every year, but I'm getting a little worried saying that after the experiences we've had today. So let's see what Canada has in store. We got the seared scallops with French green beans, butter potatoes, brown butter vinaigrette, and applewood smoked bacon. Way to go, Canada. That was actually some of the best food I've had all day, which I was a little afraid getting scallops since we've had issues with things being cooked today. But it was really good. I have no complaints. I give it 9 out of 10. We had some great food today and some not so great food today. The taco from Mexico was hands down my favorite thing I ate today, and the worst definitely goes to American Adventure. All of the topiaries and gardens are beautiful. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I think Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is still the reigning champion. There's just so much detail in them, and they are just really cute. As someone who grew up going to Disneyland, I always loved the topiaries in front of It's a Small World out there. So to be able to walk around Epcot and have a festival that celebrates all of these Disney characters in topiary form is a real treat. So that was Flower and Garden Fest. I hope you guys had a fun time watching along with me, going on some rides, eating some food, the drinks I had, and of course, seeing the beautiful topiaries. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.